Good afternoon. I think I know most of you. I'm the director of the Peugeot Center for Engineering Service in Developing Communities, which the Engineering Missions Program falls under, and I'll talk a little bit more about the center in a little bit. I think that most of you have had the misfortune of having me for some class, and I've actually been on mission trips with many of you. So let me just welcome you. I'm going to kind of go over what we're going to talk about today. The whole purpose of this session is to give you the information that you need to decide, one, that you're going on a mission trip, and two, which mission trip you'd like to tell us you have a preference for. So we're going to say some motivational things to you that are about trying to persuade you to involve yourself in engineering missions. We're going to do some informational sorts of things that tell you what engineering missions is all about and what the opportunities are there for you in this coming year. To start off with, I'm going to ask Mark Gent to join me up here. Mark is responsible for all of the university's mission activities, and he's going to talk a little bit about how engineering missions is the poster child for, well, anyway, maybe not.
I was going to.
So I'm going to let Mark talk about the overall missions program and how we fit into it.
Good deal. Thank you, Kerry. Hey, really glad to have a chance today just to share a few minutes with you. And he's right. And I say this time and time again whenever I find myself speaking to colleges or departments on campus. Over the last decade, there has been one focused discipline on campus that has pioneered the way in discipline-specific missions, and that's the department you're a part of. That's the college you're a part of. I vividly remember back in 2003, 2004, when the faculty for the College of Engineering came to us with this idea of wanting to start engineering missions. And to have watched them over this past decade not only provide you guys an opportunity and so many other people who've gone before you, but where they've come alongside communities all throughout Latin America and have given people a better way of life. And let me tell you, if you're a freshman and you're 8 weeks into school, let me affirm to you that you are part of a college and being taught by faculty that get it. And when I say they get it, they get the holistic view of missions and how they are taking something that you're learning in the classroom and applying it in a much greater context that can have a tremendous impact on the kingdom. And for so many of you, I know that you've been on trips. Just for my sake, how many of you have been on an engineering mission trip so far? Raise your hand. Several. Okay, cool. And then I want another demographic. How many of you, this is your first semester at Lipscomb? Cool, awesome, sweet. How many of you, this is your first semester at Lipscomb, this was something that you knew about before you got here and it was appealing and was maybe even a reason you chose to either come to Lipscomb or be an engineering major? Raise your hand. Awesome, sweet. Job well done. So let me just say, I want to affirm you that never let anybody tell you you're just an engineer. You may just be an engineer, but you're just an engineer who has the potential to change the world, and you are, and you can. And you don't have to wait till you get that degree, walk across the stage, get that diploma to start doing that. You're doing that now, and you will have the opportunity to do that however long you're here at Lipscomb. And I look over here and I see not only are you going to have a chance to do that while you're here at Lipscomb, but a lot of you, you're going to catch the bug. It's contagious. You won't ever be able to get it out of you. And you're going to go get a job at an engineering firm, and then you're going to come back and you're going to be free labor for us as team leaders. And you're going to pour back into students one day who are also going to want to have that chance. So with Lipscomb Missions, just to step back, a little bit of 50,000-foot view. So you have an idea of a bigger organization that you're a part of. So this year we had 51 trips that went through Lipscomb Missions in 2014. We had 795 people. Both of those were university records for us. And these trips are comprised of discipline-specific trips like yours, engineering, nursing, pharmacy, some education, some business. We have trips that are very community service focused. We have trips that are very heavily focused on kids at orphanages, at schools. We have trips that are more evangelistic in nature, in the sense of they may be working with the church, they may be in the UK or in Australia, in a first world country where language isn't the barrier. So the types of trips that we have are a wide variety. But just know that as you come into this, you're a part of a greater community that go outside the walls of, what is it, the Hughes Center? Is that the name of it? Yeah. So you find yourself in the Hughes Center or in the basement of McFarland a whole lot. But as you become part of the missions community and even the engineering missions community, you're part of this much bigger picture of just kind of the spirit of Lipscomb, because you have so many peers that are walking the sidewalks with you, that are in classes with you, who are doing similar things in other places around the world. So we have the 51 trips, the nearly 800 people, 24 countries, about 10 cities, and like I could spit out numbers to you all day long, but our view and our hope is that these trips are having a lasting impact in the host partners who we're going to serve. So you're going to hear Chris after a while talk to you about Attica and Kafnima and HOI and these host partners who we've identified that, hey, we want to come alongside you and we want to assist you in the ministry that you're already engaged in. And that's exciting. Does this have the potential to have a huge impact on your walk spiritually? Yes. It does. It's kind of a secondary side component of it. And I would say this, no matter where you come into this in your background of faith, some of you here today, you've grown up in a Christian home. This is just kind of a natural expression of worship to you, and it's going to be very easy. Some of you probably are coming into this, and you're not coming from that background. And you're learning things right now at Lipscomb that you've never heard of before. And know that that's okay. We want you to be a part of it as well. That as you go out and serve, that God can be glorified through you and in you as you serve these communities. So thank you. Thank you for being part of these trips. It's exciting because I can think about right now, some of you will end up in a place that you've never heard of before. And some of you are going to meet people whose names you've never heard and whose faces you've never seen. And they're going to become part of your story and part of your journey, and that will never leave you. So blessings to you, and welcome from Lipscomb Missions, and know that you are such a vital, integral part of this whole campus community in this. So thanks, Gary.
You can see that we have great partners in this journey, and the missions program provides so much infrastructure support to what we do that we are deeply indebted to Mark and his staff. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the history of Lipscomb Engineering Missions and a little bit sort of some of the same things Mark said about how it fits into your Lipscomb experience. And then Barney Fullington, a local engineering executive here, is going to talk about how you're beginning on something that carries through in your professional life. And then Chris Hatchell will introduce the opportunities that we have this year, and we'll have our team leaders talk about the project plans for 3 different venues. And then at the end, I'll talk about how you get involved, what you need to do over the next few weeks to get involved in what we're doing. So Mark said some of this. Back in 2004, we had some students who wanted to get involved in engineering missions, and they came to the faculty and said, let's do it. And that was the beginning of the Lipscomb Engineering Missions program. They went to Honduras, worked with an organization called Predazon, and put a water tank in a remote clinic so they would have reliable water year-round at that clinic that they were ministering out of. 2 faculty, 9 students, and 1 engineering professional. In the 11 years We've had over 200 student involvements in Lipscomb Engineering Missions. We've ministered in 4 countries. We've gone on more than 25 trips. We've had numerous faculty members involved in this journey with you. We've had 30 professionals involved in those trips, and we estimate that we have impacted 10,000 people over that period of time. This is a collage. I've got a couple of collages here that just show the breadth of what we've done. There's a lot of water work that we've done. There's some solar power, some communications, some sanitation, all sorts of different kinds of projects. This lady down here in the corner getting water, that's our first water project in the Old Pond Valley to bring clean water to a village. There's a steel truss bridge in the center there that we have some people in this room who worked on that. There is a some people call that a swinging bridge. I call it a steel cable bridge. That sounds a little better. Communication systems. This is another bridge. This is our first bridge, 135-foot long cable bridge in Guatemala. So you can get a feel just from these, from this collage of the breadth of things that we have done. We started out doing activities that supported ministries that were in the field. They were a medical missions for the most part, providing them with some ways to better do their job in their ministry. But we came upon fairly early some disaster relief activities where a couple of bridges in Guatemala had been washed out by floods, and we did those. But over time, we have transitioned to community development, where we go into a community, we help them decide what it is that they need done to improve the living environment that they are existing in, and then we go and help them with that improvement. And you can see as the green dominates what we're doing in the latter years of the program, that's what we have become very comfortable with in terms of what God has led us to. I introduced this talk saying I was the director of the Peugeot Center. The Peugeot Center was established back in the spring of this year, so it's a really new organization. And it was funded by Dick and Mary Ann Peugeot to get it off the ground. They are in some of these pictures that I've shown. They've participated and been long-term supporters of Lipscomb Engineering Missions. And what this center tries to do is taking the execution of mission trips, which you're going to be involved in, putting that together with research to give you better tools to provide engineering support, and then conduct workshops to help other people and educational kinds of things to help them understand how to do what we're trying to do here at Lipscomb. So I can talk to some of these team leaders and I can try to judge, since they've had significant engineering missions experience, many of you have, and I try to say, okay, what was it or what is it that causes students to be oriented in this direction? And the first one is just that they have a heart for service. They somehow, some way have gotten a motivation. Sometimes that is a stimulation that is so clear a message to them from God that they want to go after that passion. Others have just picked up on a desire to help others from whatever source, and they like that. They want to be of service, but they also are really drawn to the fact that they can use their engineering skills to practice that service to others. They understand that not only do the ones who are involved in engineering missions experience a life-changing process of their own, but it's a life-changing and oftentimes life-giving experience to those that they get to serve. And finally, they get to do it with classmates. They get to do it with faculty. That may not be as big a deal. They get to do it with engineering professionals and others. So it's an exposure outside the classroom that is really beneficial and really draws students. And just like Mark has talked about, there is a special experience at Lipscomb associated with our missional perspective, where we're trying to look to the service of others in what we do. And many of our students who have gone through Lipscomb Engineering Missions are really grateful that they took advantage of that as a part of their experience here at Lipscomb. There are many of our graduates who have gone on to other things, and they still look back fondly on the opportunity that they had to be involved in engineering missions while they were here. So they would say, don't let the opportunity pass you up. So I'm going to ask Barney Fullington to come up. Barney is the Director of Water Services at Barge Wagner Sumner Cannon. Some of you may know of the Ulpon Valley. Barney's been in the Ulpon Valley, and he's going to talk about how what you're doing here connects up with your lifelong path as a professional.
Okay, great. So, does this work? I pushed a button and it looked like it might have been a different channel. So, I guess they don't want me to stand behind the podium, so I'm going to move in a place where everybody has to change their neck position. So, like I said, my name is Barney Fullington. I'm the Water Services Director at Barge Wagner, Sumner and Cannon. We're a multidiscipline engineering company, about 315 folks over the four-state area in the southeast. We do all sorts of design work, from buildings to roads to airports to other public infrastructure. What our group does is water and wastewater infrastructure planning and design and construction oversight for community, cities, counties, other public utilities. So about 3 years ago, a gentleman named Kevin Colvett, some of you might know Kevin. Kevin is a former Barge Wagner employee. He came to our company and really in a fundraising effort to say, hey, I'm about to launch on this endeavor with he took his wife and his 3 kids. They were going to go to Guatemala, to the Ulpan Valley, spend a year ministering to those, the Mayan Indians there and helping with a lot of water projects. That was Kevin's background, is in water. So Kevin knew a lot of folks at Barge Wagner. He came and talked to us about this, and I was really excited about it. I had a little bit about me. Probably my junior year in high school, I met the public works director over the city that I lived in, Naperville, Illinois. And he told me what he did, and I got really excited about water and wastewater. So I've known what I wanted to do since I was 17, I guess. So I'm now 42, and I've been doing it for a lot longer than I didn't do it. And so this water and wastewater are a passion in my life, and throughout my career I've been able to do some really neat, awesome projects, things that I've been extremely proud of from an engineering perspective, some really complex projects, worked with some great people and some great communities. But sitting in that room listening to Kevin talk about what they were about to embark on in Guatemala made me think, well, you know what we can do? We can help provide financial support, which is what he was looking for some of these projects, but we could also do a lot more than that. So about 6 months later, January of 2012, we assembled a team of 10 people, 7 Barge Wagner employees and a couple spouses and friends, to head down to Guatemala to help construct the water system that we raised $6,000 to pay for. So I'm like, this would be a great opportunity for us to not only write checks and give of our financial resources, but also of our time and our engineering expertise. That was the part I was most excited about. It was like, I get to be an engineer to do something that really meant something different. So that week, if not everybody's been on a mission trip, and some are very new here. If you haven't been on a mission trip that involved manual labor, that was the hardest working week of my entire life. And Chris is laughing because he spent lots of weeks doing that. But really, I'd never been tireder in my life from a week of work. But it was by far the most gratifying week that I've ever had in my entire life. I'll tell you why. So we learned several things on that trip. One was that our profession, engineering profession, is a lot more important than we think it is. I mean, some of you are just getting into the engineering profession. Some of you are still maybe just decided like a couple months ago you wanted to be an engineer. Some of you, even though you didn't know it, you were destined to be an engineer. Your brain works the way, it's the only thing you could be doing. They say, and I don't know where this comes from, and maybe some of the professors can help me out. They say that the engineering profession has saved more lives in the history of the world than the medical profession. And nowhere was that more evident than in an undeveloped area of Guatemala where 800 villagers were drinking out of and bathing and washing in extremely poor water quality. Water. That it's regular occurrence for folks to get sick and die from poor drinking water quality. Well, in the United States and the developed world, that's an extremely rare occurrence for someone to get sick and die from drinking poor water. Even in the poorest communities in the country, it's extremely rare for someone to die from it. And so for that, everybody should just thank God that we live in a place where we don't die just by drinking a glass of water. But as we were there working with those Mayan Indians, and Chris Hatchell here is going to speak a little later. Chris was the other family that was down there, along with Kevin Colvette and his family. The importance of what we do really hit home. The second thing that I learned, and I think a lot of us learned, that one of Carrie's slides talked about why you want to get into engineering missions. You might not know this, but as you go on a mission trip to an undeveloped part of the world, you start to realize what's really important in life. Every single thing that we think we need to be happy in our society, these people had none of them, and they were happier than any group of people that I've ever met. There was no modern conveniences, no smartphones, no movies, no cars, nothing. Yet they were really happy. How in the world could they be really happy without Instagram? How? Impossible. So that was the second thing. The third thing that I personally took away from that trip, it was either a turning point or a milestone or a marker in my spiritual life, my spiritual journey. I realized that week that the gifts that God gave me as an engineer, I could use those gifts to serve others. So, not just in undeveloped countries, but also the clients that I work with and that we work with on a daily basis, but with the people that work for me and that I work with. The importance of serving others through the use of your gifts. I mean, it really was a life-altering concept for me. You know, unfortunately, it happened the month I turned 40, and not years before that. You know, but apparently, you know, it's better late than never. I felt like I had, you know, a couple decades worth of life experiences where that thought never really occurred to me. So I'm in a position at Barge where I do a lot of recruiting. I do a lot of on-campus interviews. I talk to a lot of engineering folks. I work with a lot of engineers just to liven things up. Can anyone tell me one common trait that all engineers have that make them engineers? Does anybody any of the freshmen want to raise their hand? Probably not, but. Problem solving. We as engineers, whether you know it or not, have the ability to solve problems, and we're really good at it. This is part of what you're going to learn at school, or you have learned at school, is how to take a problem, dissect it, look at the alternatives, figure out which one's best, and then implement that alternative. So problem solving. You have a unique opportunity here at Lipscomb that you can couple your engineering problem solving skills and what you're being taught with Lipscomb engineering missions in the Peugeot Center to use your problem solving, your God-given problem solving ability to serve others. I am not good at flipping off a biblical quote, but 1 Peter 4:10 says something like, you better use your God-given gifts to serve others, because that's what your mission is. I'm sure it says something different than that, but it's something like that. So that's really what I came to tell you today, is that you have gifts that you've been given, and one of those is to solve problems. There is a heck of a lot of problems in this world to be solved, whether it's a bridge or a water system or something else. Use your gift, please. I want to thank Lipscomb. I don't know how many Lipscomb people are here. No, Mark, you too. I want to thank you guys, because Lipscomb, without Lipscomb missions, Kevin Colvett wouldn't have come into Barge Wagner, and we wouldn't have gone on that trip, and it wouldn't have changed my life, and I wouldn't be here today. So I want to thank Lipscomb. And again, you guys have a great opportunity to be a part of this. Please take advantage of it. Thanks.
We're grateful that Kevin came to see you as well, because we have a great partnership with Barge Wagner, and it's something that's special to us. Thank you very much. I want Chris Hatchell to come up. Chris is going to kind of lead us through the opportunities that we have this year. Chris is an employee of Barge Wagner Sumner Cannon and a graduate of our engineering program, and he has been the heart and soul of engineering missions for the last several years, and he is serving as a consultant to the Peugeot Center in his spare time, and he's going to take you through what our project opportunities are for this year.
Not that you guys need any more motivation, but I want to encourage you that whatever dreams you have in using your engineering gifts to serve others, you never know where that might take you, and those dreams might come true. I always longed, after my first experience in 2004 on the first project to Predesign, that I would be able to live in a rural community using my skills. And it wasn't until after I was married and had left the professional engineering field that God gave me that opportunity for 2 years to live and work in the Old Pond Valley. And when we talk about why we have done what we've done as alumni and graduates of the College of Engineering and Lipscomb Engineering Missions, it's a life-changing experience. Barney speaks to that. It changed my life and now has given me a different perspective of how to be a water and wastewater engineer after 2 years of living in Guatemala. The first, I'm going to step through. I'm not going to speak very long on each of these locations that we're serving this year. I'm going to let the team leaders talk in more detail on their projects. Our first project this year we've been working on actually for over a year already. It's a new partnership with Honduras Outreach International. We're working on a steel truss bridge. This is our 5th bridge. But it's exciting this year because we're doing a little bit differently. Two of our previous bridges, steel truss bridges built in Guatemala, had been either designed here on campus, or Barge Wagner actually helped with one design. And we fabbed it all in Guatemala, and then a team of students came down and helped us put it all together. This year, that's being done different. We're actually fabbing this bridge here in Nashville. Luke, who's one of the team leaders, just got an email while we were sitting here with our second quote for fabbing the steel members and the plates, and I'm very close to telling him to get cut loose on that quote and let's get it fabbed. This is an exciting project because regardless if you have the opportunity to travel internationally or not, you've got the opportunity to work on a project that's going to be implemented in an environment that's going to serve others. This bridge is connecting two schools, an elementary school and a middle school. Some of the resources for the elementary kids are across the highway. Some of the resources for the middle school kids are on the other side where the elementary school is at, so they're constantly crossing this highway. So this bridge is going to provide safe access for these kids to get back and forth to both sides of the school. There's a computer lab on one side and a playground on the other. I'll let Luke get into the details of how many trips that they're going to take, and we're actually going to build this bridge on campus. Our target date is in January of this coming year to see this thing come to life here on campus. We'll tear it down and ship it out to Honduras and build it there. We will be returning for the second year to Arikai. Some of you were a part of this team last year. Last year was our first year working with the Arikai organization. I came across this organization when I was living and working in Guatemala almost a year and a half ago. We're very excited about the possibility and the opportunities that we have to continue our long-term partnership with Arikai. Arikai is a organization based out of Coban, Guatemala. It is completely Guatemalan ran. Most of the staff members, if not all, speak not only Spanish, but typically Pocomchi or Quechua, which are the two Mayan dialects around the Coban and Alta Verapaz region. This team, for both of our Guatemala projects, we're still in the project definition phase. There are opportunities with Arikai for water projects and also for bridge projects. So we've had some initial conversations with Arikai about those opportunities. We actually investigated one of the water projects while we were there last year on a survey trip. That's still a possibility. For our CAFNEMA team, this team is also in its project development phase. This is working in the Old Pond Valley, returning to the Old Pond Valley where Bonnie's been. All of the alumni that sit here that are engineers, sorry, Andrew, not alumni. All of our team leaders have been to the Old Pond Valley. The Old Pond Valley holds a very special place in my heart and is where we really got into community development and working with a lot of different communities. Like CAFNEMA, we're looking at water projects and stove projects to partner with CAFNEMA. Let Andrew and Mallory get into a little bit more detail. All three of these partners are incredible partners. They're hosts, like Mark mentioned, that we're looking for long-term relationships with. We've been working with CAFNEMA since 2008. Last year was our first year with Arikai, and then this year is going to be our first year of hopefully many with Honduras Outreach International. So with that, I'll let these guys kind of give you a little bit more detail on projects.
Hey, I'm Luke Burris. I'm not Ethan Johnson. He is at work today. I'm the third Barge Wagner guy in a row. I also work with Chris and with Barney, doing water and wastewater stuff. So I am on the management side of this bridge project as opposed to the design side, because I don't design bridges anymore. So there will be 3 trips associated, or there's 3 main components of this HOI bridge. The first that comes will be the campus build. We're shooting for January, possibly right before classes start, so that you guys have a little bit of time to do it. Still working out those details. But as Chris mentioned, we're going to get it fabricated here, get it painted here, get it delivered to campus. And that the team that will be a part of the campus build, if you're not able to travel internationally, there's a lot of work to do here. We got to figure out where we're going to put it, how we're going to hold it up, how we're actually going to build it, all those details. That'll be a pretty intense project, and that's going to be troubleshooting all of the problems of the bridge and communicating with the fabricator and those sorts of things. That will happen sometime in January. We'll leave it up for 6 weeks or so. roughly, and then we'll take it down towards the end of February, put it in a container, and ship it to Honduras. Over spring break, we will take a team, a smaller team than the May trip, probably 10 to 12 total, maybe a couple professionals, several students, and myself likely. We'll be leading the spring break team. We will go down and pour the concrete, do the other preliminary work, make sure that we have a place to build it, and maybe check out the crane that we're going to use to put it up later. And we'll be doing a lot of stuff that week, but our main goal will be to pour the concrete for the May trip. Then the May trip will come along pretty soon after graduation. Not sure the exact dates, but Ethan will likely lead that trip, and that will be the steel erection trip. We're going to build the bridge over on the side, hopefully, pick it up, and put it over the road. So that this project has quite a few challenges. A lot of it is construction related. The design portions will be the main bridge has been designed. The towers and the stairs are currently under design. I know several of you are helping with that, and others who will join later will be plugged into that as well. Those will be designed by students. The roof will be designed by students. The handrails and the walking surface will all be done. That will be your task, as well as figuring out how to get the bridge in the air and get it in the air safely. So there's going to be quite a bit of work, design work, and then it's going to be a lot of labor to get it all up and get it together. HOI, the organization we're going to go serve, they do a lot of things. I've not been down there to see exactly what they do, but they are in the community development. Their ministry is community development, so our work is kind of community development, kind of ministry support. I guess if you had to qualify it. They have their own schools. They have other education opportunities, economic opportunities. They do infrastructure. They do lots of great things, and they're well connected and well respected by the Honduran government. They've existed there for about 25 years, and they've been doing a lot of good work. So we are just going on our trip to support them and to help them do their work better, and possibly see other needs that they have and return back later. Anything else I need to? I should do that. The bridge is 112 feet long. I don't know. It's probably about as wide as this room, if I had to guess. Yeah, I think maybe here to Burton would be about 112 feet. We could do that, yeah. But one of the big challenges of this is the other bridges we've done have been over a river, so the bank comes down and we just build the bridge right on the ground, essentially. The road's in the middle, and one side has a pretty high bank and the other side does not. So the bridge has got to have a short tower on this side, come across, and then have about an 15 to 18 foot tower on the other side. So that makes it quite a bit different than what we've done before. It's going to be way over our heads. More ways than one.
Soon you forget building across a river.
Yeah. 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 Rivers are easy. No. But it's going to be great. It's going to be a great project. And I could go on and echo everything that Chris and Barney and Carrie have said about how these experiences have changed my life. They've changed what I want to do and how I want to do it for my long-term career. And I hope that you'll get involved as well to have those experiences. And even if you don't want to have those experiences, come anyway, and you may have them as you're not expecting it. So.
So my name is Kirsten Heikkinen Dodson. It's not Dodson quite yet, but I got married last weekend, so that's my husband, Stephen Dodson. Oh, thank you. It's so hard. Can the team that came with me last year raise your hands if you were on that team? So there's about 5 in here that went on the trip last year with me. I hope you guys had a good time, and I hope you tell everyone else that you had a good time. But if you guys want to learn more about Attica and what we did, I would recommend you talking to one of them. If you want to learn about how we survived the GWAT, you should talk to them as well. Attica is a Guatemalan organization, as Chris was talking about. We don't exactly know the exact project we're going to do yet. Hopefully it's a water project or possibly bridge surveying. If it's a water project, it could include, a pumping system. It could include solar. We're not quite sure yet. But there are a lot of different opportunities for this trip. Since we don't know a whole lot about our projects, I want to encourage you guys, especially freshmen and sophomores. You guys might feel a little maybe overwhelmed or intimidated by these trips, but I hope that you get in there and try it. It's okay if you don't know as much as the juniors and seniors or the mentors or anything like that, but I encourage you to try it. Even though you might not have a whole lot of technical expertise to contribute to the team, you're going to have a lot of fun and you're going to be a huge help. If you're a junior and senior, it's not too late. It's time to get in and see what you can do. I started as a junior. I wasn't young when I started doing the trips, and I loved it, and now I'm committed, and I hope you guys see what you can do in engineering missions through these trips.
Hello, I'm Mallory Clancy, and this is my husband, Andrew. Some of you may have had a class that I taught here as an adjunct last year. I was Peterson then, so I just recently got married also. So neither of us were Lipscomb alum, actually. So I went to the University of Florida and found out about the trips from a friend of mine who actually just Google searched engineering missions and I guess called Chris, and just, the rest is history. So I can second and third and fourth and fifth what everyone said about this really changing your life, because at that point I was a senior at a secular college, really wondering why I ever chose engineering. Was I ever going to help anyone, or was I just doing it selfishly? And I went on the trip and I heard the same statistics about how much more important engineering can be for saving lives than medical, because you're more preventing illnesses than trying to treat them and save them after the fact. So this was a huge part of my life, so that's why I'm here getting involved as a professional. So I'm an environmental engineer at CDM Smith here in Nashville, and we'll be doing the Ulpan Valley trip. Andrew and I will be leading it. And so most likely we're also still in the project development phase, but we're discussing water projects, and as Chris said, maybe possibly some stove projects. But a lot of you, if you have gone on trips before, have probably gone to Ulpan, so a lot of you will have just as much experience as I have had. And Andrew is in business and has an MBA, so we're hoping to maybe utilize some of his knowledge in the water committee and community development aspect of the trip. So hopefully I made some sense there, but if you're not familiar, Ulpan Valley is another really rural valley, mostly indigenous Mayan culture. Very little speak Spanish. Most of them speak Quechua, their Mayan dialect. So there's opportunities for Spanish speakers too. So even if you have some friends in maybe other majors, you could let them know. And then they have a lot of the communities have already been touched by our water system, so they have some sort of system in place already, but there may be opportunities for either repairing previous systems or installing new ones. We're not really sure. So again, as Barney said, there's definitely going to be some problem solving involved and a lot of project development. So you'll get to see all aspects of engineering, from coming up with, what the problem is in the first place to then trying to fix it, and then actually being able to go down and do the project yourself. So we'll hopefully know more soon, but I encourage you to consider it.
Because I am a business major and an ENTJ on my Myers-Briggs, I feel the need to also speak. When it was asked earlier, one of the things that kind of characterizes you guys and why you do so well, I thought of other reasons. But one big thing is you guys are nerds. So you're really smart. Business majors are also nerds, but we are not as smart as you guys, okay? So like, we have this thing in our college that people go to communications because they couldn't handle business. But business majors go to business because they can't handle engineering. We really look up to you guys. Barney mentioned earlier that engineering has saved more lives than healthcare, but I'll also say that engineering has spurred more economic growth and development than business majors. If you look at Roman history, the aqueducts were developed by engineers. That's what spurred the Roman Empire's great growth and stability. If you look at trade throughout the history, it's because of boats and modes of transportation, not because of business majors. In my my graduate school, we actually have a big, huge art piece, and it's boats hanging suspended from the ceiling. And it's supposed to symbolize trade, but I think it even more symbolizes the impact that you as engineers can have on that development. So I think it's really exciting. I'm really excited to be a part of it, and I think you guys are going to have a great experience and impact in Guatemala.
So let me talk about how you can get involved. This afternoon, you're going to get an application from me, an email from me with an application in it. And that application is designed to help us understand as much about you as we can so we can properly place you in a particular mission trip. You're going to get to express your preferences for these trips. The questionnaire is going to be about what kind of experience you've had. Have you been a leader of a project like this? Have you participated in something like this? Can you speak Spanish? That will be on there. All sorts of different qualifications. And we'll ask you about your spiritual health and your physical health. And then we'll ask you to make a commitment by agreeing to a covenant that says you're going to take this seriously, and it's going to be a part of what you are for a few months now. So we will, and that application has to be returned to me by November 1st, the end of this month. So you'll have over a week to work on it. The team leaders are going to then invite. I probably shouldn't have put that. Successful, well, anyway, the team leaders are going to invite applicants to join their teams based on what your preferences are and what your skills are and what your motivation is, and then or the business. No. So we'll have the next meeting will be an all teams meeting again, everybody together, and that will be the week of November 10th, right before Thanksgiving. There's some things that we need to get you focused on as team members, and one of those is inviting other people to join you in this journey by talking to them and communicating with them about the resources that you need to go on this trip. And then we'll set meeting times and organize the teams at that meeting. Kirsten? What? Oh, yeah. This qualifies as a level 3 SALT experience, so it's a great way to get that part of your SALT credit as well. Questions? We may have a couple of minutes before we have to run off to class. I'd be glad to entertain questions, or the team leaders would. Does anybody have a question they'd like for us to answer? Boy, what a great presentation this was. Okay. Yeah, the cost generally runs around $1,300 or $1,400. Kirsten always reminds me that no one has ever not gone on a mission trip because of resources. So if you want to go, we will show you how get the resources and point you to some opportunities for getting resources that will help you raise that money. Okay, thank you for your presence here today, and we look forward to receiving an application from you.